Me, 25-year-old male, and my wife, 23-year-old female, are having our first child together. She is currently 9 months pregnant and could give birth any time in the next couple of weeks. The only major fight we've had throughout her pregnancy happened a couple of days ago, and it was about what we were going to name our kid. It all started when we found out the gender of the baby. We didn't do a gender reveal and decided to find out the gender at one of her checkups, because we didn't want to spend time making 2 lists of names, then have to get rid of one after. So after we found out we were having a boy, we sat down together and made a list. Almost all of the names she suggested were normal, until the one that caused me to write this post. She suggested we name our son Muna. She told me the name was from this movie she watched when she was younger, and that it always stuck with her. I told her the name was a little out there and he would get made fun of for it. She claimed he wouldn't, and we started going back and forth trying to decide whether to add the name to the list or not. Eventually she agreed to keep the name off the list. We picked some that we liked, and I thought that was that. Later on in her pregnancy, her mum decided to throw a baby shower, as it was her first grandchild, and my wife's pregnancy was almost over and we hadn't celebrated once. It was fine for the most part until we started to open the gifts. Most of them were normal baby things like diapers and bottles, until we got to her mum's gift. My wife opened the gift bag and pulled out a blue handmade blanket. It seemed normal enough at first until my wife unfolded it, and lo and behold, there was the name Mune written on the blanket. When I saw it, I was pissed but didn't want to cause a scene, so I stayed quiet. After that reveal, I had family members come up to me and ask me about the name and why I hadn't told them. I didn't know what to tell them, as I didn't have a clue about this either, and just had to embarrassingly tell my family that, which pissed me off even more. Once the event ended and my wife and I went home, I started to question her about the name. She got defensive and told me that it was a good name and that I was overreacting about it. I brought up the earlier points and told her it was a stupid name for a kid, and if she wanted to name something Mune so bad she could use the name for a dog. She got upset and called her mum to come get her. After she left, she called me and told me she wouldn't be coming back for a while. Everyone I've talked to about this has said I'm not the jerk, but now that my wife has been gone and I've been thinking about it, I feel like I could have handled the situation better. Am I the idiot? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. You are not overreacting and not the idiot. Tell your wife this, or better yet, have her read this. Naming a baby is a 2 yes or 1 no situation. You do not name a child something your partner does not agree with. You find a compromise. This is the start of many necessary compromises in life, and it is a total move to unilaterally decide on a child's name, despite your partner's misgivings. You need to put your foot down hard on this, because what she is doing is 100% not okay. She's absolutely not mature enough for motherhood if she cannot find a reasonable compromise on this. I am a mum to several kids. There are names I have loved my husband has not, and there are names my husband has loved and I have not. We have always landed on a name that ended up being a great fit for our children. They might not have been our first choices, but it's not about winning. It's about finding a name you both love that will be a good fit for your child, no matter what career they might have in life. And Chief Justice Mune doesn't have any weight. The only thing a name like Mune is good for is if your kid ends up the drummer in a metal band. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Congrats and good luck with everything. I'm also about to give birth and we haven't picked a final name yet. If my husband went behind my back and told his family a name and didn't bother to mention it to me, I'd be livid. Not to mention she told them early enough that they either had time to personalise or hand-make a personalised gift. Names should be 2 yeses. I'm not going to comment on the name, but your wife is TA for making an important decision behind your back, keeping you out of the loop and telling people. That's not okay. Hopefully things can settle down and you guys can talk it out soon. Hope all goes well. Comment 3. This is one of those 2 yeses, 1 no situations. You did not have 2 yeses, but your wife proceeded as though you did, even going behind your back to do so. Maybe it's her pregnancy hormones, but she's very much in the wrong here. Your kid is going to end up being called Moon or something along those lines by his classmates. Kids are mean enough as it is. No need to give them ammo. Not the idiot. Now for the next story. I recently bought a semi-detached house and it's proving to be a lot more work than anticipated. We're having to rip everything down to its framework. My new neighbours are a bit elusive. I know there's at least a dad and a daughter, and the daughter has additional needs. We've been working for 3 months, and she's been having screaming fits every time we work with anything remotely noisy. There is also a son, and I know there is at least a mum somewhere, but I've never seen her. Recently we've moved to the bathroom, which seems to line up with their daughter's bedroom. Now the bathroom has been the worst room yet. Literally everything has to go. Sink, bath, shower, toilet, windows. Even the walls have to go. It's bad. We started 4 days ago. Immediately she started screaming so loud we could hear her over the tools and through our ear protection. When we continued the next day, her dad banged on our door. He explained that she's autistic and we're invading her space. Apparently the vibrations through the wall shook something off a shelf and broke. I apologised, and he seemed happy with that. Later that evening he came back, clearly home from work, and started laying into me and my brother, the one helping me. He called us inconsiderate bastards and left again. Yesterday he was red in the face with rage, asking if we're really that heartless to keep overwhelming her. I did catch sight of his daughter, and she did look distraught, so I apologised again but explained that I have to do it. Today he came knocking again and demanded we move on from our drilling. He explained that his daughter hasn't been able to recover from meltdowns, that it's been a constant battle for days. He and she are both exhausted. I apologised again but told him it was his job as a father to help her cope, and we should not have to hinder our work for a child we don't even know. He left, pissed as all hell, and ever since my wife has been giving me the cold shoulder. We're expecting, and she's calling me a jerk, saying we would expect the same decency when our baby arrives. I understand why the dad is annoyed, but I'm on a time crunch, and my brother and I are basically doing this solo. Obviously excluding the hired help for things I'm not well versed in. We're continuing on with our work, but my wife still isn't talking to me. She called me a weenie, and I've been delegated to the couch. The neighbours also seemed pretty pissed when we left. So am I the idiot? Am I the jerk here? Comments. 1. I'm going to go against the grain here and say, you're the idiot. I should say first, you're not breaking the law, but that doesn't mean you're not a jerk. Many jerks conduct their assholery entirely legally. I was on your side until you said in a comment that you're doing construction work from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night. If your house is connected to other houses and there isn't much noise insulation, then that's such a jerk move. I'd be raging with you if you were doing construction until 11 p.m., even without an autistic child in the picture. Yes, you're probably within your rights regarding noise ordinances, but that doesn't mean you aren't being a jerk. What you need to be aware of is that by doing this, you're destroying any prospect of a good relationship with your neighbours. Not just the one you're having problems with here, but likely with all the surrounding houses as well. You're giving yourself a reputation as a massive weenie, and you, your wife and your future kid are all going to suffer for it if you move into this house. 2. You really tried to bury why everyone is mad with you. You're doing this work until 11 p.m. every night. Of course you're the idiot, where he says he's going until 11 p.m. every night. This also means his pregnant wife never sees OP. He's not helping her with her pregnancy at all because of his self-imposed timeline on moving in. But there's no rush to leave the place they're staying at for free. So he's basically using this work to be able to avoid his pregnant wife all night, and she never sees him. He avoids his pregnant wife by working so late. He's keeping the neighbours up to 11 p.m. with his work. He has no reason to need to work so late other than wanting the project done faster, meaning he's doing this to his wife and neighbours for no good reason. Yes, he's an AH. 3. Info. What sort of hours are you working on things? Some noise is unavoidable with shared walls, and you need to be able to do the work, and they'll need to help their daughter through things. But if you've kept her up all day and night for days, that's a big gap in the story. It seems like you could have told them when to expect the noise after the first time they came over, and it seems odd that never came up. Most neighbourhoods with joined houses especially do have stricter noise laws at night, and you may be breaking them if you are working late due to the rush you mention. If that's the case, give them some reasonable hours and find non-drilling parts to do at night. There's probably plenty of that as well anyways. Now, for the next story. I, 26-year-old female, am engaged to my fiancé, 33-year-old male, Brandon, and have grown close with his daughter, Lucy, 4-year-old female. Lucy's biological mother, Natalie, 30-year-old female, has lost all physical and legal rights to her daughter due to neglecting her severely when Lucy was an infant. Not to get into great detail, but Natalie is addicted to opioids, and Lucy had a withdrawal period. Lucy and I have gotten close as I have dated my fiancé for almost 4 years. Lucy was born 9 months before I came into Brandon's life. We met at the hospital as Lucy had some major health issues in her infancy. Due to Natalie and I have a chronic illness that pushes me into pancreatitis. She now calls me Mama, even though neither I nor my fiancé asked her to do so. I read her bedtime stories, and I'm helping her learn to add and subtract. During a get-together for Brandon's birthday I hosted at his house, Natalie showed up with her new boyfriend. Neither were invited. She tried to give Lucy a hug, but Lucy didn't know her. She came to Brandon and me instead and told us a stranger had come. She then asked me to make up her plate because Natalie began to throw a tantrum in the middle of the party, shouting about how she was going to take Brandon to court, and because she's the mom, she'll win full custody because she deserves to be in her daughter's life. During this time, Brandon took Lucy inside because she had started crying because she was scared. I admit I snapped. I told her she has no right to call herself a mother because she abandoned Lucy to go get high and sleep around. She hurt my baby so bad that she's 4 and needs to go to therapy and has physical health issues because of her. That she refuses to put her baby first, and at best she's an egg donor. I told her to get the frick out of my house and never come back. She wailed all the way back to her boyfriend's car. I admit I think I went too far. I know that drug addiction is a disease and people who suffer from substance abuse disorder need help. I think I went too far saying she was at best an egg donor. Brandon said I did nothing wrong. Am I the idiot? Comment 1. Yinta. This person showed up uninvited at your fiancé's birthday party and became unhinged. If it happens again, call the police so it is documented. I know she's an addict, but she has no right just showing up. Have her parental rights been terminated? It sounds like she has lost her rights, but there is thing called a TPR. Also, if Brandon had an attorney, he should let them know this happened. Let Lucy's therapist know too. You are in effect the mother, and I hope you get married right away. Comment 2. Not the idiot showing up to a party you weren't invited to is not the way to try and initiate establishing a relationship with a biological child who doesn't even know you, and certainly doesn't indicate that she is fit for any sort of contact with the child she abandoned. If she has no legal rights to Lucy anymore, can you get a restraining order? Keep protecting her. Make sure any daycare school knows who Lucy can and cannot leave with. Comment 3. Not the idiot mama bear stands up for her step cub. She just trespasses, intrudes and insults. You'd think she has some issue. You may have been blunt, but nothing short to combat her absolutely asymmetrical attempt to see Lucy. I will not say her daughter either. Brandon is right, you did good. Only one AH here and we all know who that is. Now for the next story. My 20-year-old female co-worker Kate had a baby a little while ago, and in the break room during lunch yesterday she was talking about breastfeeding. During the conversation I asked Kate, "Hey, so what would happen if I were to drink your breast milk?" Kate said, "Excuse me." I did realise that it sounded like a weird question when you didn't hear the train of thought leading up to it, so I tried to explain myself and said, "I mean, is it okay because your baby is related to you, but I'd get sick because I don't have your same bacteria?" Kate didn't answer me, but our other co-worker Lauren then said, "Well, it can't be that. That's how it works, because then wet nurses wouldn't have been a thing." I've never heard of a wet nurse and asked Lauren, "What's that?" Lauren said, "It's when you hire a nanny who had a baby at the same time as you, so that she can also breastfeed your baby for you, but it's like an old-timey thing." So at this point, Kate said, "You guys are being DEC-cares," and left. I found out today that she's telling people that me and Lauren were making fun of her about breastfeeding, so I do understand why Kate would have been uncomfortable with the first way I asked the question, because yes, that was kind of a stupid way to say it, but I don't really understand how she thinks I was making fun of her at all after that. Am I the idiot? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Soft. You're the idiot. You didn't make fun of her and neither did Lauren. But your question was definitely inappropriate. She's talking about her baby sucking on her breast to get food and you were just like, "What if I sucked on your breast?" in different words. I get that's not what you were trying to ask. I understand you were asking whether it's healthy/safe to drink breast milk produced by someone not related to you. But the way you phrased your question was rude. Also, dude, the milk we buy from the store, used to make cheese and yogurt and ice cream, comes from a completely different animal. Of course, human milk is safe for humans to drink. Comment 2. You're the idiot. I think if you don't recognize how invasive that question is, you may need to talk to a therapist social worker who specializes in helping people who have deficits in social skills or understanding social norms. If you do understand how invasive the question is in retrospect, you might need to do some work on how to keep from blurting weird thoughts before they go through the filter and/or how to apologize well if they do come out. I am guessing her issue wasn't mockery, that was just the politest way she knows to say, "made me really uncomfortable." Comment 3. Look, some thoughts just don't need to be shared with others. You asked a gross and weird question, and I'm not entirely sure why you even thought she'd want to answer or necessarily know the answer. You seem to be trying to creep her out on purpose, which she took as making fun of her. You're the idiot. Next time, just ask Google your weird questions. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.